Hello and welcome back to episode 7, where we discuss Game 6, which was the last pool play of Jamaica, here on the ACC's Netball Podcast Court Session, brought to you by the Export Beer Garden. My name is Sam Winders. Once again, I have Erena Mikaere with me. Erena, how are you feeling this morning? It was a big day of netty yesterday.
Oh, I know, Sammy. I had my own club game as well. Not that that's more important than what went on, but I did play both England and, because it ran kind of into our Ferns game, did play the games on the sideline, and I had the umpires watching from my phone. I had the people on the sideline watching from my phone. It buffered at one point and I was like, no.
Stressful.
Help. But I'm feeling great, Sammy. You're getting really good at those intros.
Stop it. I'm just got a list in my head. I just work through it. And so long as I get to introducing you, then that's the main thing that matters, I think.
I love it. Well, I'm excited to talk about the Jamaican game, but I have to prep myself for both this podcast and my tamoko later, which I'm not quite ready for. I don't even have Panadol.
You're going to a session to get it done.
Yes, I had 2 sessions today and tomorrow.
But that's not all, right?
That's not all.
You have a lot more other sessions.
Oh, I have 16, Sammy. Yeah, 16 sessions of 5 to 6 hours. But this is not about tattoos. This is about the netball, Sammy. What happened? What was going on? Actually really proud of the girls. I felt they did better than that South African game.
Yeah, that was quite interesting. We talked yesterday because if you didn't see the score, New Zealand lost by 11 to Jamaica in the last pool play, but they're safely through to the semi-final. We talked yesterday that they'd had to lose by many, many goals to really screw up their chance of making semi. So they did all right. Maybe that's why we feel like they did better, because they were within range. But they also, like, Jamaica are a really strong team, and like standouts in their team. Standout last night was Jhaniele Fowler, who she shot 49 from 49, 100%. And she is 6'6". She is a beast. She just stands under that post and dominates it. And
that's beautiful.
It is. And I heard Noel say after the game she was really happy with the defence and they actually got quite a bit of ball. But to be honest, as soon as it got into the circle, there was no hope.
Nah, it was just like banging in. Like, yeah. The ball's going to be going up in the air because she's 6'6". It's just going up in the air and just going to go to her regardless. Man, what do they need, Sammy?
Yeah, it was very back and forth, that game last night. And I think what the Ferns really missed at certain times was just like a person who like cracked the whip and just told everyone to calm your farm and like settle themselves. Like people were, I don't know. It was just all a bit back and forth a few times, I thought. And yeah, could have done with a bit of a settler. But not to mention the fact that for some reason, riddle me this, people. And if I don't know the answer, I'm not sure how else. Well, maybe you, Ed, I know you're a bit of an expert at this end. Why wouldn't you play New Zealand's tallest player against Jamaica's tallest player?
I think, obviously, like you said, that's the question everybody is asking, right? Yeah. Everybody's like, why wasn't our tall wingdie on the tall goal shoot?
Yeah, and Kelly Jury, who is a goal keep generally, who's the tallest in our team at 6'3".
She play a full game at wingdie? Yeah, 6'3" she should be.
She did.
Wow. So I think if we dive into it, it's like Knowles is like, no, I'm adamant that this, like I see that this will work, you know.
She's a stubborn, strong, independent lady, isn't she?
She's an independent woman. And I feel like it could work if it could work, but at this time in that game, something else needed to change. Like, and in the last quarter, Phoenix come on, which I thought, oh, maybe we'll see something up. Maybe you just keep mixing it up. But yeah.
Yeah, that's funny that you say like it could work. And we've just finished 6 pool play games. Now we're into semis and finals. Like, is that enough? Have we figured it out? Is the team ready? Because in my experience of being in the Ferns, most of the time, the idea is that you never peak too early and you're just ready for that final, and you do just enough to get yourself to that final, and then you're away. And maybe that's where they're looking at it at the moment, or from that perspective, as in they are still figuring it out, which for most people, that is hard to comprehend.
Yeah. I think it's good because we've up until this point, we haven't showed all our cards. We've put everyone on in different places. Changes have been made. And then right now we've like, you know what, let's play poker. I'll play this whole card round for this whole game. And it's the first time most of those girls had a full game at World Cup. So it's a different intensity. It's, you know, it's a whole different ball game when you're getting full games at this end of the World Cup, like at this end of it. So I think going into semis, we actually set up all good. I've got belief in the girls. I feel like if we come back up against that Jamaican team, I feel like Noz is like, tricked ya, Kelly, into goal keep. You know,
hard because
Jhaniele hasn't played her.
Yeah, the chance of us actually coming up against them is quite high because we now go into semis. We play England, who shock horror, similar situation to us. Like England have never beaten Aussie in a World Cup. Jamaica have never beaten us in a World Cup. And it happened last night, both those situations. So we play England because they finished top of their pool and we finished second of ours. And Aussie and Jamaica play each other in their semi-final. And then, if Jamaica beat Aussie, we'll meet them in the final. Obviously, we need to beat England first. But who would you rather play out of these three teams? Say we've made the final. You could pick any of those three teams to play in the final. Who you got?
I would 100% be wanting to play England.
The final?
England. Oh, in the final. Oh, jeez. I feel like because we've played them and I feel like because Aussie get up too much, maybe Jamaica, but it's a bit of a hard one, Sammy, because those two are both fiery teams. I'm just happy that we play England.
You can pick England for the final.
Oh, wait, how does that work?
Any of those three teams, just your personal preference.
England. 100% England. 100%. I would rather play England. I feel like that's a team we could dupe. Yeah, is dupe a winner?
Really?
Does dupe mean win? Yeah, I do. Who would you rather?
Well, I'd probably still say Jamaica, only because
you won a good game.
Well, yeah, but also they are the most likely team, I believe, to fade at the end of this competition. They've played like majority of their big dog lineup for most of it, probably more than other teams have maybe. So I'd say them, and also because it's entertaining, that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, I get that.
And I've had some real shitty, awful games against the other two teams. So I'd be keen as to not.
And by shittiest game, who has been your hardest loss ever?
Yeah, that would be England for me. So it was a couple years ago at the Tiny Jamison Trophy. And we had suffered a few injuries. Some players couldn't get down. It was during COVID. Some players were in Auckland and couldn't get down for the game. And then they came down and they were like, got injured at training or whatever. So we were missing heaps of players. And we missed like our captain, and then our vice captain got injured. And then I ended up having to captain. This is not a claim to fame because it did not end well. The one game I have ever captained for the Silver Ferns, we were up against England by 10 goals at halftime. And we just had to win this game to win the series. And we bloody lost. And we lost the series. It's the first time we've ever lost a series at home. So yes.
What happened?
That is my most awful loss. I just remember sitting next to Nolene on the media bench afterwards, like looking like how she looked the other day when she got asked about crack. That was me.
Oh, Sammy, sorry for making you relive that. That's handy.
That's all right. It's humbling.
I was going to say, I don't really lose, but we spent a whole season losing with Magic. That really hurt. No, I can't think of one that actually hurt really bad. Apart from
final or...
There was one actually with Magic. It was semi-final and it was way back in maybe 2013 or 11 because it was, I think we played Firebirds in Hamilton Mystery Creek. Not Mystery Creek, sorry. It was Crewlands, and we played, and I just remember losing. And I think because I drank too much after that game, but I remember someone saying, "He's doing anything after this game?" And we were so mad, myself and Casey and Eli, that we said no, but we did. Saturday, that was it.
You're just not allowed to be with us. Okay, so we're heading into semi-finals. We've only got 2 more games of netball. What were your standouts besides the netball on that court last night? What were some highlights for you?
Oh, shit. It was like last quarter. And I didn't message the text until after the game to my friend. Jamaica were dancing in the middle of the court. Obviously happy that they won. I think they were kind of singing as well, but I was listening to the singing in the background in that fourth quarter. And I was like, wow, like, it had like soul. The singing was beautiful. And I messaged a friend and I was like, oh, that singing was amazing. She was like, really? She thought I meant the singing that when they were dancing. I was meaning the singing during the fourth quarter that was like humming when they were like, like they were up and people were playing. Oh, it sounded amazing.
Like the crowd yes, singing all in tune. Like singing. You don't get that in New Zealand, let's be honest.
Well, I thought they had their poi. Do they need a kapa haka leader? Do we send a kapa haka ropu, there, and they sit in the middle and they just, like, kia ora, the middle. I don't know what the song is, but that was my example,
Yeah.
Because just fun. To have some waiatas going in the middle, or even, I don't know, some New Zealand, and not the anthems, but, our song anthems. Would that help? Because that's what I love.
Actually, how bizarre.
Yeah.
Love it.
Exactly. We could do that. I feel like let's invest and send a kapa haka ropu. I know the next World Cup is in Sydney. So
kapa haka ropu to sing How Bizarre at the next Netball World Cup. We own New Zealand.
And then we're winning. And we'll have Grace will wicket back. Don't worry.
Don't worry, public. We've got it sorted. Yeah, my highlight was, for some reason last night, they just ended up wiping the floor a lot. And I really enjoy it when these kids come on with their little face cloths, their little flannels to wipe up these athletes' sweat on the ground. Like,
yes, Sammy, can you please tell us about the time when you were the ball girl?
I sure can.
Because remember you were.
Since then, there has never been another like me, I tell you. I was the most onto it ball kid ever. I knew exactly who to throw the ball to when it went out of court, because obviously if it's a baseline, it's a goal keep. As soon as someone fell over, I whipped out my hand towel. Don't you worry, they gave me a flannel, but I brought a hand towel from home to be prepared.
Get it.
I had everything ready to go. I was switched on ball girl, and I think that really prepared me for the next phase of my
Have you
career as a player. Yeah.
Were you coached to be the ball girl? Were they like, right, girls, you've got to get out there quick as you can? Wipe the floor?
You won't guess who it is. It was Lolo, Mama Al. She just comes away on tour and does cooking for your rep teams. She's just your mum when you're not at home. The
netball mum, right?
Yeah, she is. So, yeah, she trained me up real good. Bring your own hand towel, Sammy.
If you want to be elite, bring your own hand towel. The thing that cracked me up about it is the commentators asked that there be something invented to wipe the floor. And I was like, a towel, a mop.
Yeah. Are you serious? A wee gadget.
Would you like?
A wee gadget to wipe the floor. There's this thing called a mop that they use at halftime. I don't know why they just quickly run out with a mop straight across the surface, run out the other side. Like those tennis ball kids who just run straight through the middle of the court, pick up the ball as they go and sit back down the other side. Same thing. Stand up with your mop, race right through, boom, sit down the other side.
We could learn something from tennis, right?
Oh, heck yeah.
That reminds me of the time I was at under 14s tournament. My daughter was playing in Taranaki rep tournament, and their court was wet, and they have up there these cool squeegee things, and actually I did it at the under 18s tournament too. The under 18s tournament was probably better. It was our shooting end down by my bench where I was coaching, and I was like, it's slippery down our end and the mid-quarters can't land on the circle edge fast. So I got that squeegee I did it for like a training session. I ran as fast as I could for that whole break, and I covered the third. I dried out third for that shooting end, and they were so happy. They were like, "That was so good. Can you do our shooting end again?" I was like, "No, because I can't run past the team that we're playing. Squeegee your end of the court and not theirs. How rude."
You're like, "All right, girls, it's quarter time, but you just sort yourselves out, make your own changes. I got to mop this court."
Exactly. And I even did the umpires little L shape along the little sideline and the base.
Love it.
Yeah, they loved me. So,
amazing. You're so good.
That's what you do to clean the court.
Legend. All right, so Silver Ferns have made it through. Let's briefly touch on the media coverage that they're going to get now, because obviously they've made it. And yesterday was a whole different story. I haven't seen a lot of news coverage of this World Cup. It's been definitely overshadowed by the Women's Football World Cup, which is on at the same time, which is a real shame. But the lot of negative, media yesterday, are they going to make it? What happens now? What if the Silver Ferns don't make it? That question, have they cracked under pressure? What do we need to tell the fans going forward who might be a bit sucked into this media content that says that they are really struggling and really shit right now? What do we got to tell them? How do we keep the faith alive in New Zealand?
Well, good question, Sammy. I feel like this is a better situation for us. We got to remember that, they don't know what we have. They don't know what we got. We're coming into this. We went into World Cup as previous winners. We are now coming into it as the underestimated. I know they still know that we are strong leading women's sport. Silver Ferns, we're still one of the best in the world. So we can go into this and we've still got the faith, we got to keep the faith. What about you, Sammy? What do you think we need to tell the fans? What do they need to know? How do they stay on our side? Watch the game. I reckon just watch the game, enjoy it for the netball. That's what I have to tell myself anyway. Just watch it for the netball, enjoy the play, watch the crowd because they're bloody exciting. And watch out for a netball streaker because that is the last bingo thing that we have got. We've literally covered all of it. And I mean all of it. And I know I said yesterday we didn't have a vuvuzela, South African musical instrument, in the crowd. And I know something else about the crowd. I feel like they've banned that sort of thing from coming in. I haven't seen anybody on the Perth there either. I haven't seen any alcoholic beverages in hand, maybe because they're playing at 9 o'clock in the morning, but still get amongst it, people. I haven't seen any hot chips or donuts or hot dogs. I feel like they don't sell anything there, but I did see one little squeaky little thing. Oh, so I put that down as our musical instrument. So netball pitch invader is the one last thing that we've got to tick off, and then we've won bingo. We've done well. Yeah. Well, Sammy, we've got a question from a listener. We've got actually, which I thought I'll pop to you. With a situation like this, where you have you have to come up against Aussie if you win. So we're going back before, say, for example, before you've played the Jamaican team, right? Mm. So if you win, you have to come up against Aussie. Is there a small thought that flicks through your mind as a player to throw it? Or is England just as scary? So that's what they're kind of asking, yeah. Well, that's interesting. Because that's what we talked about before, who would you rather play and why didn't Kelly play gold keep? All these things that people are just I don't get it. Maybe there was a plan all along. But I think as a player, do you throw it? I could never throw a game. It's just not in my nature. I would just hate myself for the rest of my life, but yeah. Yeah, it's also against the rules, right? You can't that's called match fixing. Yeah, it is called match fixing. Well done, Sammy. And that's against the rules. If you're a high-performance sports player, you can't actually do that. Alongside, you can't actually do drugs. What if someone on the black market offered you $1 million to throw the game? Wow. I'd, same as you, Sammy, it's be way too guilty. You go to the police, good girl. So talk about drug testing and coming into these last games. Yeah. It happens, right? It definitely will have happened by now at an international event that definitely couple of players from each team will be drug tested by now. So they basically randomly select people from your team to be drug tested. You go into this shady little room
at the back of the court after the game. The person who's drug testing you never lets you out of their sight. Like you can't go anywhere.
Including while you're peeing.
Yeah, without them looking. Yeah, I was just going to say, you get into the scody little room, you get into a wee handy-capable toilet, you drop your pants, they just stand there and watch you while you piss in the cup. It is, talk about invasion.
Daunting, right? Yep.
Yeah. But the funniest one I've ever done was in England, and I think one of the girls over there actually had to request that it was a female who observed her. I'm not sure why they thought they'd be all good the other way around. That wasn't really funny at the time, to be honest. Funny now, haha. Funny not back then. And I've heard of another person shitting while they're pissing, so that's pretty gross.
My favourite one was I was in there with Famu after one of our ANZ games. So Famu plays for, who's Famu play for now? Pulse. And we were both in there along with the Pulse shooter. Lovely girls. And I got in there a bit late. I was all over the show and I just like making that lady laugh, and actually I was like, yep, come on, this is my lady, pat, we're ready. And I was like, Famu, I'll race you, because she only filled, you have to fill so much in your cup, she only filled like a fingertip of it. And I was like, nah, we're racing. So we're having Mimi races. That was us.
Mimi races. I like it. Beautiful. Well, I think we've covered a lot today, from the game, of course, to situations on court, to how the team's going to be feeling, how we as a country have to get behind them to rah them up to get into the semi-final, and then, of course, the drug testing, which is always a fascinating topic to cover. So, yeah, good amount of content today, but all in all, we're looking forward to a massive hit out against Jamaica tomorrow. We can't wait to see the Ferns. Oh,
we're playing England, but that's okay. You must be preempting the final.
I hope I am. I honestly hope I am. That would be great. Come up against Jamaica the next day. So we go semi-final, we go straight into a final, and then boom, World Cup's all over. So come with us on the journey, people. Just enjoy yourselves, and we'll be back here ready to take on some more action.
And like the Herald said, if you want any questions, give me a message in my DMs. That's us. Court session. We out.